I'd like to welcome everybody to the regular meeting of the East Central Board of Trustees, meeting being held on January 19, 2023, beginning at 6:30. Madam Secretary, can I have a roll call, please?
Sir, Emilio Carrasco.
Here.
Victor Frisenhoff. Victor Garza.
Here.
James Moulton.
Here.
Brazil is here. Monique Crystal. Here. And John Messenger.
I'm here. Thank you. All right, we will move on to prayer and pledge. Mr. Scott, who do you have?
I'd like to turn it over to Scott, principal of St. Clair Elementary School.
Good evening, Mr. Toscano, President Massengill, and members of the board. It's my honor to come before you all tonight and present just a few of our amazing students at St. Clair Elementary. Tonight, I have brought Victoria Magianes, a fourth grader in Miss Keebler's class, and Mason Magianes, a first grader in Miss class, to say the pledges for you. The prayer will be said by Avery Martinez, a fifth grader in Miss Diaz and Mr. Palomo's class. If you would please stand for the pledge.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to you, Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you today for all your blessings, for the success of kids, and for all students, parents, and staff members. We ask that you bless them and we continue to seek your wisdom, guidance, courage, and strength. We will be with our board and our decorations and help them in the decisions they have made. For all those who have placed their trust and confidence in their leadership, grant us with humility to always seek your good all that we do and say. In your name we pray. Amen.
All right, you may be seated. All right, I would like to welcome Miss Eddie. She's been working hard with these students. They are from pre-kinder to first grade, and they will be presenting for us tonight.
Woo-hoo, that's what we did.
Snowflake, snowflake, little snowflake, falling from the sky. Snowflake, snowflake, little snowflake, falling, 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 falling on my
for you very much. But first, I would like to recognize the parents of all these kids. So if you were a parent, if you would please stand, we want to thank you for everything that you do. I would also like to recognize our staff that is here. If you would please wave or stand up. I know Ms. Dotson's in front. We thank you so much for the time and everything that you do to support children, first off, and us at Sinclair. We have some amazing students. We have amazing family members. So thank you to all of you. And like I said, we have a token of appreciation. We've already put one, but we got one more, and I'm going to let the kids deliver that to you.
Thank you so much for that. There's nothing more precious than those voices that really reminds us of what we're here for. So that was beautiful. Thank you so much.
We also have some very special presentations that we're about to do, so if you could stick around, that would be great for you to be able to see.
We move on to the awards and recognition. There's one not listed on here, but it is a very special day for this very special person that we have here. So, not everybody knows, but it is Dr. Brewer's birthday today. Today's a special day, so we'd like to say happy birthday to her, and if everybody could join in and sing happy birthday to Dr. Brewer, it would be very appreciated.
Trustees, community, we have very, very important recognition tonight. Very esteemed guest with us tonight. I'll turn it over to Ms. Michelle.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much. So tonight we are honoring a retired teacher who is a pioneer for East ISD. We would like to recognize the first African American teacher at East Central High School, Miss Luella Williams. We have a video that will tell you the latest story. So here's the video first.
I went to Douglas, Junior High School, and Moody High School. The graduated from 1947. I went on to college and I graduated from college, Houston, Philippines, 1952. It is segregated from all the way through school, through high elementary, junior school, high school, and then after I graduated, it was still segregated. When we finished school, we had to go into the kitchen, working as a maid. It was hard. We knew that we couldn't do certain things, so we didn't do that. We knew that we weren't supposed to go into the front of a cafe. We would go in the back door and we would eat in the back door. My friend, Latrell Johnson, was working out here on a federal program, and she told me about East Central, and that's when I came to East Central. I was welcome. The teachers, although I was the only black, they were very receptive to me. My first year at East Central, I taught science, general science, and biology. In the second year, I moved into the homemaking department, which I stayed the rest of my tenure. They have the opportunity to do whatever they want to do. They don't have to hold back anything. They can go on and be whatever they want to be, nothing holding them.
So if everybody could please stand and help us to recognize Miss Luella Williams. So we actually have several of her family and friends, and we even have one of her former students that came to see her. So if you guys could wave and we could recognize you as well. Thank you so much.
I didn't know how to talk to her. So you got one more year, you just stay at home. Start now and you can get their pay or take it or off the bed. We'll see her like her dad. Off the bed. No, she's like protesting. She's very but I'm really worried because I don't know. So I don't know. She got a straight she went to her academic advisor, she went to her she's like, y'all need to figure this out.
All right, so as many of you also
Escort her
know,
out of here. She does
this
not
month is Board Recognition Month.
Yeah, I know.
So we would like to thank our board members for your devotion of your precious time to the service of our students, faculty, staff, and Central Independent School District. As Texas Public Schools continue to deal with the challenges for the past few years, our school board continues to lead the way. However, schools and communities, when everyone works together, builds a brighter future. Parents, teachers, students, and school leadership. The 2023 TASB School Board Recognition theme for this year is Forward Together. I am proud to share that our trustees have a combined total of 71 years invested in service in the East Central School Board. Tonight, we want to recognize each of you for your generosity of time, leadership, service, and vision. Down in front, we have certificates for you of appreciation along with individualized thank you cards that were done by our students. So before you leave tonight, we'll make sure we help you to get those out. But first, we would like to call Miss Ginger Friesenhahn to be recognized. Miss Friesenhahn, can you come up to the front? Ms. Friesenhahn began her services to the East Central community as a trustee in November of 2021, but she is no stranger to serving East Central. This East Central graduate is a dedicated wife, mother, and lifelong community member. Ms. Friesenhahn has volunteered with East Central for many years, serving on numerous committees, task force, and award-winning PTAs. To her, Forward Together means, as board members, our priority is the children. I am proud to go forward together with my fellow East Central board members, staff, and teachers to ensure every child is proud to spend their days learning to be the next generation of leaders. Ms. Ginger Friesenhahn, thank you for your dedication and service to East Central. Thank you. Next, we'd like to call our board vice president and also East Central graduate, Ms. Monique Presses, down to be recognized. Ms. Mo, as she is also affectionately known, has served on the board for 2 separate stints. She was first elected in 2003 and then elected again in 2018. She has served a total of 19 years as a trustee to ECISD. Her and her husband have raised two proud EC graduates, one of which is a phenomenal teacher at East Central High School. Her roots run deep in EC ISD, to say the least. She is a leader and a business owner in our community who has a heart of gold and is full of love for children. To her, Poured Together means take into consideration the very diverse needs of all of our students, staff, and community, and remember to include each of those unique needs moving forward from the precarious and difficult times we've been challenged with in the past few years into a new positive days, developing, creating, and implementing new opportunities to enhance the journey through one school career and making it meaningful, rewarding, and memorable. Ms. Moe, we are grateful for your commitment to ECISD. Thank you. Next, we would like to call Mr. Garza to the front. So Mr. Garza was elected to the school board in 2005 and has served continuously for the past 18 years. He is a veteran, a dedicated husband, father, and long-standing member of the Greenway community. He is full of love for his family, his children, and his community. You may often see him at the Spurs games where he works as an usher and sometimes dressed as Santa Claus during Christmas time. No matter the time of year, though, he is bringing joy to everyone he comes in contact with. Mr. Garza serves on the board with pride and is a staunch advocate for providing a strong foundation with various rich opportunities for all students. To him, Forward Together means I strongly believe in teachers and parents working together to educate our students to help them succeed and provide them with the tools necessary to face their future. Mr. Garza, we are humbled by your service to ECISD. Thank you for all you do. Next, we'd like to call Mr. Mulkey up to the front. Mr. Mulkey. Mr. Mulkey, otherwise known as Coach, has served on the school board for the last 12 years and due to his election in 2011. As a retired teacher and coach, football Hall of Famer, husband, father, and loving grandfather, he has been a long-standing resident of the Lakeside community. As a retired teacher and coach, he brings a unique perspective to our board as a former educator. He is a strong proponent for extracurricular activities and long-term benefits that bring into the lives of the students. Coach can regularly be found at numerous athletic events, supporting his Hornets to victory, whether it be on the field, court, or track. He's also a frequent visitor to Sinclair Elementary School, where he takes the time to warmly greet students and staff as they arrive to school, ensuring they are filled with hope and optimism as they start their day. He's a strong advocate for athletics, administrators, teachers, and staff. It is his mission to let them know that they have the biggest impact on the most important thing of all, and that's student learning. To him, Forward Together means we can't change history, but we can all move forward together with a positive expectations for the 2023 school year. Mr. James Mulkey, we are indebted to you for your continued service to ECISD. Thank you. We'd like to recognize Mr. Emilio Carrasco. Come on down. So Mr. Carrasco is our newest member to the board, being sworn in on December 13th of 2022, but he is no stranger to ECISD though. Mr. Carrasco is an East Central graduate who has two amazing and humble, hardworking young men who have also graduated from ECISD, and a third son that's made from that same stock will soon graduate from East Central High School. He's a longtime member of the East Central community. Mr. Carrasco is a loving husband for the last 31 years to his high school sweetheart and has served in numerous years as a youth pastor to his church. To him, Forward Together means our district is a body of one part that cannot move without the other. I'm going to put my coach voice on too. If we move together, success will be the only outcome. Henry Ford once quoted, if everyone is moving forward together, then success takes care of itself. Mr. Emilio Carrasco, thank you for your willingness and sacrifice to step forward to serve our amazing community in this district. Thank you. We would like to call our board secretary to the front, Ms. Del Brazil. Get this thing to work now. Ms. Brazil was elected to the board in 2012 and has served for the last 11 years as a trustee. She is a true servant leader, as serving others is a way of life for her, as it was modeled by her parents as a child growing up. This passion for service led her to the healthcare profession, where she retired as a nurse. Ms. Brazil brings her nursing expertise to the table as she thoughtfully weighs on decisions that impact the overall health and welfare of students and staff, especially over the last few years. She has stated that she is drawn to serve to places with great and honorable need. To her, Forward Together means moving in a positive direction, making steady progress in a collaborative manner, and modeling inclusivity while advancing the common cause. This is my vision as I reflect on the overall vision. We are engaging and embracing challenges and advocating for a new generation of learners and celebrating the victories in the arena of education. Ms. Del Brazil, we are so thankful for your compassion and service to ECISD. Thank you. Last but certainly not least, we would like to call our board president, Mr. John Massengill, also a former East Central graduate. Come on up. He has served on the board for the last 10 years and is a proud husband, father, business owner, fisherman, who truly loves this community. His lovely wife, hardworking son, and amazing daughter are also proud East Central graduates. As a business owner, Mr. Massengill is an advocate for all students learning valuable employability skills and is a staunch advocate for the career and technical education programs. For the past several years, he has sponsored East Central High School's Electrothon team, which has won local and national competitions every year. I have heard him say that deciding to serve his community was the second easiest decision he ever made, only behind marrying his wife. To him, Forward Together means remembering the past, living today, planning the future, and working with and for others. With the words from the late Miss Leah Chase, work, pray, and do for others. Mr. Massengill, thank you for your commitment and dedication to East Central and all that you do. Thank you. We also have many family members and friends in the audience of all of our trustees. If you wouldn't mind also, if you're a family member of one of the trustees or a friend, if you don't mind, please stand so you can also be recognized. Thank you for your sacrifice for allowing them to come and to serve on the board.
So before we move on to the break, I'd like to personally thank Ms. Williams for being a teacher at East Central for all those years. And you're an amazing woman and a pioneer. So thank you so much to you and to your family. Appreciate it. We were going to take a 10-minute break. We'll reconvene at 7:10. 11-minute break. All right, we'll move on to item 5, public comments. No public comments? All right. We will move on to item 6, trustee report, 6.1, updates regarding school and community activities. Anybody on the...
I had a busy couple of weeks, and wanted to start off by saying thank you to my wife for allowing me, but she was right by my side, and we enjoyed it. I'll kind of go quick, because I don't want to take up a whole bunch of time, but we got a chance to go and see the basketball team. This was the JV. We started off with the freshmen and the JV, and my grandbabies right there that I'm super proud of. They got a chance to go out with us. We went out to the ag farm. They had pig competition and others, and this young man that you see here, Guerrero's his last name, Raul, very impressive young man. He took the time, standing there, he's teaching me. he's explaining the different pigs that he was showing. One of them was a spotted and the other one was calico. And he went on and just, the interaction with him was awesome. I learned a bunch. That was the soccer game there. The girls, I heard it was a scrimmage, but they were beating them like 10-0. And I was like, wow, they were just score after score. There we go. And it's just some more pictures. We got to see the girls basketball as well. The dance team there at one of the basketball games. This was on a Tuesday, and then the right-hand side, top right-hand side there, that's the bowling team. I got a chance to go out and see their tournament. I had never been to one, and that was pretty impressive. Those guys can really make that ball dance, if you will. Next order, real quick. Get to this. And then I got a chance to go out to some of the schools. The principals, DK over there at East Central High School was just a treat. She took me around the campus. It changed quite a bit since 1991, I can tell you. No dark hall. But me and my wife, the other day, we went to a basketball game and we walked by where we met. I was going to baseball and she was coming from dance team. Now it's not the same either. We'll move on. Then I went to cast lead there, and Ms. Bedway there was a blessing, and she's energetic lady and showing me around the campus, and the young people just it thrilled me. I got a chance to meet somebody that resembled the gentleman next to me here, and I think he's a little more spirited. And he gave me the spill of their end of the year project, and it was just tremendous. Got a chance to go to the tennis tournament that they had over there. Young man here serving the ball, and I didn't get, so that thing went on from like 7 or 8 in the morning to like 9 o'clock at night. And so I got a chance to be there first thing in the morning. I did the tour, and then my grandbabies wanted to go see the tennis match, so guess where we went that evening? We got to see a little bit of the evening, and then next one, we had a thrill of those young people. One of the young ladies, I'll share this with you real quick. She wasn't playing at the time, but last name was Gutierrez, and she said that she was going to go to school to be a teacher, come back and teach at East Central. And I was like, wow, right? So doing something right here. It thrills my heart to hear those stories with these young people. And so we went to some of the elementary schools, Oak Crest, had a thrill there, and then also Salado. These schools changed compared to when I grew up, and I'm gonna tell you some of the perception that I had as well. The really renovated areas and stuff, and every one of the principals were super excited about their school. And I won't take a lot of time, but there were several. I went to almost all the campuses. I think the only one I didn't get a chance to go to was South Campus that I see, and I'm trying to make my rounds to finish off anywhere else I didn't get a chance to go. So I just wanted to say thank you to all the principals. Your hospitality was just amazing, and you taking the time to take me around and show me all the awesome things that are happening there. Just filled my heart.
We got a chance to go around before the holidays and went over to Oak Crest, and I think Ms. Barnes, she had Rich meet us and show us around, and I said we really did have a good visit with the school. It was a warm welcome, and they took us around the school, showed us some of the things that were going on at Oak Crest. I don't think I have ever been to Oak Crest, but I see. Right. And then we left there and went over to the CAS school, and I hadn't been there before. And I think the principal, she met us, I think at the front door, and we visited the school quite a bit. Met a lot of the kids, and a lot of the programs that are going on over there, I think it's beneficial to the kids, where they'll be career ready when they come out of the CAS school. And a lot of programs over there. I'm always at some of the athletic events, and that's the basketball boys and quite a bit, and I think Mrs. Friesenhorn and seen the outdoor learning center, and we kind of she kind of showed us around, and we visited that a little bit, and our school gym out there. But anyway, I'm not going to take up much more time. We had a business, and I think we've made all the schools now except Tradition, the high school, and Salado. So they are on our agenda. We got it. So we'll get by those schools next board meeting. Thank you.
I did a little advocacy work. I attended a water funding webinar, and I'm going to share. It's quite a bit of information, but I will send it to you. And the reason I was interested in it was because there's an opportunity for grants and a lot of things to deal with water. It's a lot of opportunities for I was even thinking about our CAS students that maybe they were looking at even colleges they had some programs for that, but it's quite extensive. So I will send you, but it was wonderful. It was worth the time. It was a virtual presentation, so I have all of the things that you could want to share and look and see where we fit into that. But with us not having any rain lately, there are a lot of interesting things I think we can take advantage of being part rural and part city. So anyway, I wanted you to know about that. They even had a part about emergency community water assistance grants, and it was quite interesting. The other thing that I got a chance to do, and Ginger went in person, I did the advocacy, Region 20 advocacy webinar, seminar today as well. It was really great. One of the senators was there and shared how how legislature works. But it was really interesting to me because I thought about how a bill was passed. I know how a bill was passed for my son, who was, I think, in the 4th grade here at East Central, and it was a little song like, "I'm just a bill." I thought that brought back me. So I thought it was very interesting, and so we get to learn and see. It's not just the fact that we go to the point out about the advocacy about the government relations and TASB's part of that, because I love going to the legal seminars and those kinds of things. So the way I can get a board member. And so anyway, that was extremely enlightening. So I will share again about the water with you. So thank you for giving me a couple minutes to share that.
I need transportation. I have short-term memory. I have long-term, but we went to transportation today, and I want to thank yeah, he showed us around, spent a lot of time, showed us a lot of things that's going on in the bus. With the transportation, on how they monitor the buses, went and visited the mechanic shop, and he really took a lot of time to show us about how the procedures are, how they keep up with the buses, and how the routes are good. Thanks a lot for your time. Yes, sir. Thank you.
And I'm gonna put everything on social media because I didn't have a chance to send the information, but just knowing how you just think that, oh, they make the routes and they drive the buses, pick up the kids, but how much goes into that and the processors, and when somebody calls in, like they seem like they don't get panicked at all. And you would think, oh my gosh, that's a whole route. How are they gonna learn it? How are they gonna know what kids to pick up? But everything flows pretty good. And I remember seeing it when I was on the bond committee.
typical during this time of year. Of course, if you have any questions, please let me know. I'll get you additional information if you need.
All right. Move on to 7.2, upcoming events. Mr. Scott.
Trustees, just a couple of things I want to point out in your January and February calendars. Obviously lots of spring activities going on all over the district, particularly athletic activities. But on the 26th and 27th of January, our fine arts program is going to be doing the musical Mamma Mia. They've been working really, really hard. It's going to be a fantastic event. It'll be a large community turnout, so you may want to mark your calendars for either of those dates. They're both nights. It's at 7 p.m. at the PAC. Also on the 27th is our district 27 6A swim meet, and so that may be an opportunity. It's times to be determined based on when our kids are heated, etc. But that'll be at Bill Walker Natatorium. So 2 events that are culminating the year that you may want to make it to if you have an opportunity. Also in February, the 6th is a staff development for our staff, and that's a holiday for students. And on the 13th of February is also a staff development holiday for students. As well as on the 11th of February, it's a Saturday, is our annual JROTC ball. I know several of you like to make that event. It's 5 p.m. in St. John's Hall here in China Grove. On the very back, just wanted to point out that the 16th of February is your next regularly scheduled board meeting. You have to answer any questions.
All right, we'll move on to the action agenda items of the night. 8.1, construction service work related to ES North. Mr. Scott.
So trustees, in your miscellaneous packet, you'll actually have a cover sheet. Top right says ranking sheets attached. It's this particular agenda item. And I just wanted to call your attention to the second and third page. That second and third page reflects our evaluator worksheets for the competitive skills proposals that were received for the Elementary North Project Program. I just wanted to provide an overview. This is all very familiar to the board when we do this kind of work. There are 5 major categories that we evaluate: relevant school experience, project management ability, past performance, subcontractors and suppliers, and price. And so you'll see the tabulations, if you will, for the 2 contractors that submitted bids. You'll also notice across the top, you'll see some initials, CC, SG, JS. The evaluation is conducted independently by 4 different evaluators using the same rubric and the same information. They tabulate their scores, and then those scores for each category are averaged, and then sum total, which you'll see at the bottom right-hand corner. And you'll see that Bartlett Kopp received 90.74 points. And so for that reason, we are bringing Bartlett Kopp to the board tonight as our recommendation for the general contract. And so what you're considering tonight is considering delegating authority to me to negotiate and finalize an agreement with Bartlett Kopp for the construction of North Elementary. So I'd be happy to answer any questions the board might have, as well as the staff here who participate in firsthand in the process. Mr. President, I recommend that the board approve the ranking as presented by administration and delegate authority to the superintendent to negotiate and finalize an agreement for a contractor for the North Elementary School project in a form approved by legal counsel.
We have a recommendation from the superintendent to approve the ranking as presented by administration and delegate the authority to the superintendent to negotiate and finalize an agreement for the contractor 13.2, approval of commissioning agent work related to bond construction project. Mr. Scott.
So, Mr. President, trustees, what we're bringing to you tonight is a recommendation to hire a commissioning agent to work on behalf of the district as a technical advisor who will help us to ensure in working with us, and architects and engineers, to ensure that all of the projects in the bond program are constructed in such a manner that they integrate with our structures and systems, all mechanical systems, so that once we receive those buildings, they operate efficiently, and that all the controls work, and all the software integrates, and all the things, and then our staff receives the appropriate training to provide preventive and routine maintenance, as well as to operate all of those systems that are in all of these new buildings efficiently. So this is something that's a little bit new to us. Because of the scope of the work, we believe that we need a commissioning agent to provide that technical guidance for us and to work as part of the team throughout this entire project program. So the district can hire a commissioning agent. It's a service, very similar to other services in which the contracts are awarded on the basis of demonstrated competence as well as qualification to perform these services and for a fair and reasonable price. So after the evaluation, the staff is recommending Tessie Engineering to provide the commissioning agent technical support for the bond construction project program. Mr. Khan from Tessie Engineering has an extensive resume of providing similar work for multiple school districts in the area, but also throughout South Central Texas. So we'd be happy to answer your questions about commissioning as a service, as well as Tessie as the service provider. There was. Would you like to?
No, I was curious. And is that in the form of like a resume, kind of
Statement of qualifications.
We also did an interview process where we spent some time with each individual going through a series of questions, vetting their background, getting, additionally, we sent out to some of the local school districts in the area to get feedback on their performance as a commissioning agent.
And I'm just curious, is he exclusive to us, or does he have other projects going on?
They have other work as well, yes, ma'am.
You know how large the scope of that work is?
I don't know what his current workload is. I mean, we didn't go too deep into that, but he promised that he could keep up with the work that we have coming ahead of us. As commissioning is mandated by the state now, so we're required to do commissioning through this process.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Thompson.
So we're required to do, is that what you're saying?
Yes, sir.
And they're gonna oversee and any, thing that's not going right.
So what they're particularly looking at is from an MEP standpoint, the mechanical parts of the project, they're engineers, so they're gonna make sure the mechanical programs and processes are in place correctly, and that we're trained in those programs, and that they're working correctly when we get the job turned over to us. So that we don't have systems that we can't manage and use.
And are they available to us? I'm sorry, are they available to us after, how long after everything's completed? Do we still need?
So they'll be with us through the punch list process until we have everything completed with each and every project.
So they're gonna assure us that when this project is completed, there's no problems.
From the MEP standpoint, yes, sir. The mechanical, plumbing.
And then if there is a problem, who's responsible for that?
It's still gonna be back to the general contractor as we go through that process. We're gonna create a punch list. So they're there to make sure that those punch list items are addressed and that we've got systems that work correctly.
So it's including in the commissioning, is it also performance levels of the systems and stuff like that? So the systems, they say, you know, I got a 30-ton unit, it's producing 30 ton, and then giving the CFM that we're supposed to be getting in that and working process.
Yes,
So
sir.
it's just not controls, it's more of a system, the whole system.
Correct.
Okay, yes, sir. Just group, I don't even know who, but how many people did we have, or how many different companies did we have?
We brought in two different groups because a lot of the other groups that you work with on the, you kind of want a difference between the folks that are doing the work for you, the MVP engineers on the projects, and then the ones that are doing the commissioning. You don't necessarily want that same company checking their own work,
All right,
right?
yeah, box part in-house, I got it.
Correct.
Yeah.
So the ones, the MVP engineers, we either want to either engage in the work itself or in commissioning. So that's how we kind of vetted out some of the ones that we felt were performing less than. We didn't want to use them for commissioning or for the planning. So we took that group of people that we had left and worked through that process.
So is it accurate to say, John, that the greatest benefit of commissioning agents is going to come the earlier we bring them on board?
The earlier we bring them on board, they can sit down, look at the drawings and some of the systems and catch things early, if you will, so that we can avoid some problems down the road. Ideally. Yes, sir.
And my really quick question, is this the direction that schools are gonna be going in when they're passing bonds? Dealing with bonds, and we know what we kind of went through with, trying to get our bond. And so I'm just wondering, if this is from the state that's making the recommendation that we start doing commissioning?
Yeah, it used to be optional, and now it's a state law.
That's right. You know I was gonna ask.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. You got it. All right.
All right, Mr. President, I recommend board approval of contracting with Tessie Engineering to provide commissioning agent for work related to bond construction projects. As presented.
We have a recommendation from the superintendent to approve the contracting with Tessie Engineering to provide a commissioning agent for work related to bond construction projects. Do I have a motion? So moved. Have a motion from Mr. Victor Garza. Do I have a second? Have a second from Monique Priestley. All in favor? All opposed? Motion carries. Move on to 8.3, 2021-2022 school district audit. Mr. Stones.
So, Mr. President, trustees, in your electronic packet, you'll have an electronic copy of the entire audit. 105-page document there, and I believe there, all the courts here today, will probably call your attention to a few pages in that document. So please pull that up, it would be very helpful. Very welcome.
In there?
Sure.
Mr. President, members of the board, Mr. Scott, thank you for having me today. Here from Valley, Texas, and here to present your audit. The reward tonight is that your staff did an excellent job, and so the presentation is going to be short. So, if you'll turn to, I do have your board package. What I want to do just briefly is go over our opinion letters, and then go over some fund balance numbers, the change in fund balance, and then also the ending fund balance. Other than that, there's not a whole lot to go over tonight, which is nice. It's nice to have a short audit presentation, because if that's doing what they need to be, and I don't have to disclose much. So, in this actual audit report, like Mr. Scott said, it's 100+ pages. There's a lot in there. And so I just really want to go over our opinion letters real quick. So we have 3 opinion letters in this audit. One opinion, an auditor gives an opinion on the district's financial statements and whether they present fairly in all material respects operations of the district. The second is if the school district receives federal funds, they receive an audit on their internal controls and compliance and other matters. And lastly, if you receive over $750,000 federal funds, you have an audit on your major federal programs. All 3 of these opinions were clean, were unmodified, and this is the highest level of assurance and audit opinion on a set of financials. So congratulations to the district in that regard. Staff did a great job. Last thing I kind of want to go over with y'all is fund balance. If you'll turn to page 19, I was told that this corresponds to your report, right?
Yes, sir.
So looking at fund balance, first thing anyone wants to know is there any problems? If there's no problem, we'll do a great job. Then they want to know if they need fund balance. So looking at this schedule, this is your profit and loss or your income statement for the year. And what it does, it tells you what your total revenues were, your total expenses, and the change in those funds. So just looking at the first column, this is your general fund, this is your main fund, this is where you're seeing the bulk of your tax revenue, your foundation money, and this is where you pay the bulk of your expenses at, your salaries, transportation, etc. So looking at that first column, I'm just going to look at the third line from the bottom. The change in fund balance in your general fund was an increase of a little bit over $6 million. Now bear in mind that increase also includes some insurance money that the district received during the year from some storm damages, which was roughly about $2 million. So pulling that back out, fund balance actually kind of increased about $4 million from day-to-day operations. So this left the general fund with an ending fund balance of $34,457,000. Your debt service fund is your next major fund. Same deal, that had an increase in fund balance about $508,000, leaving that with an $8.6 million fund balance. Your third column is your other funds. We lump a bunch of these funds together that aren't as material or not as major as far as revenue, expenses, or assets, whatever it is. This includes your child nutrition fund, your campus activity funds, your Title I, your ISD, etc. Those total funds, they increased $1.8 million during the year, leaving those with a $3.3 million fund balance. So across the board, the whole district increased, that far right column, $8.3 million, leaving it with an ending fund balance of $46,441,724. So we like to see an increase all the time. Not all the time, it's kind of like a savings account. Sometimes you have big projects, which y'all are about to have a huge one coming up. But an increase in fund balance just means that the district is living within its means, operating at an efficient level. So we try to get this out to y'all early enough so that y'all can review it. If y'all have any questions, please bring that to our attention. Go home and say, I wish I would have asked that. If your administration can't answer that, our name and numbers on it. So, once again, great job. Do you have any questions?
Thank you.
Thank you. It's great news. We like it. So.
We want to thank Ms. Burns and her staff for doing an excellent job, so we don't have to ask so many questions.
Say true back to you, Bob, you Valley. God bless you, Valley.
Yes, sir. We can use those prayers over there.
There you go.
Thank you.
Mr. President, I recommend that the 2021-2022 audit of the district's fiscal accounts be approved by the board as prepared and presented by Coleman Martin Company, LLP.
We have a recommendation from the superintendent to approve the 2021-2022 audit of the district's fiscal accounts, but be approved by the board as prepared and presented by Coleman and Company, LLP. Do you have a motion?
So moved.
Have a motion by Mr. James Mulkey. Have a second?
Second.
Have a second by Mr. Victor Garza. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Move on to 8.4, budget amendment 22-23-02, child nutrition. Mr. Toscano.
Trustees, as was just presented in the fund balance report, the child nutrition program did increase its fund balance. In fact, it increased its fund balance to $2.7,063,916, which is up from $916,486, which is an increase of over $1.8 million. Federal regulations require that cash resources do not exceed 3 months average for expenditures in the Child Nutrition Fund, which means that they're in excess of cash resources beyond what is regulated. So in order for the Child Nutrition Program to stay in compliance with the Texas Department of Agriculture, they must develop a spending plan, which they have, to reduce these excess resources. Submit that plan to TDA for approval, which we have. And so the Child Nutrition Program will utilize the excess resources for staffing. We're looking at finally possibly, our goal has been for a long time to bring on a dietitian, which will help us to ensure the healthiest ingredients in meals that we're serving our children. Upgrade some equipment, add some equipment, upgrade our time clocks, add some technology equipment, replace some technology equipment, and conduct some extensive repairs to existing equipment in our kitchens. This amendment will allow the excess resources to be appropriated on the general ledger and be expended in a TDA-approved manner as I mentioned. So I'd be happy to answer any questions. I believe Ms. Rokas is here with us tonight. If you have any additional questions? Hi, Ms. Rokas. Great job bringing your staff up.
I'm still recovering from the day that I volunteered, so yes,
They work hard.
I think it says it here, but it'll be stretched out across the district as needed per kitchen.
It will not be done equally due to the fact we are also looking at equipment and there's different life cycles at each of the sites. So we're also looking at making sure those things are updated. But we are taking a very comprehensive needs approach to it and making our list, and we'll be punching out on it. As Mr. Scott said, we do have to submit our plan to TDA for that final approval, and we'll be waiting on that return. But I cannot say it will be equally, but all campuses, their kitchens will be touched in some form or fashion.
Athletics.
When I worked at ISD and Heritage, I just had a few things and then they mentioned a few things or whatever, so
Thank you. We'll add them to the list.
well, when I read it, I was like, okay, cool, yeah, we can do this and that. Sounds great.
Perfect.
Mr. President, I recommend board approval of budget amendment 22-23-02 child nutrition as presented.
We have a recommendation from the superintendent to approve the budget amendment 22-23-02 child nutrition as presented. Have a motion? Have a motion from Mr. James Mulkey. Do we have a second? Second. Have a second from Mr. Richard Garza. All in favor? All opposed? Motion carries. Move on to last of this section, 8.5, ECF funding award. Mr. Scott.
Yes, sir. Trustees, ECF refers to the emergency connectivity funds, which the district submitted the application to receive 1,800 Chromebooks and 1,800 hotspots. If awarded, these hotspots and Chromebooks would go to students with demonstrated need, both financial and academic. The hotspots would be active for 1 year. The Chromebooks would stay with the children as long as they're in our system, provided they continue to have the need both financially and academic. We were awarded the funding in the amount of $865,800. The service provider for the hotspots will be T-Mobile. OmniPro will be the service provider for the Chromebooks, and both companies have agreed to invoice the district on behalf of the Emergency Connectivity Fund program. As I mentioned before, the hotspot service will last 1 year. T-Mobile doesn't want the hotspots back, but the children, if they're able to beyond a year, could continue the service on their own if they need it and want it. But again, the Chromebooks will be inventory controlled by the district, but they'll stay with the children for as long as they need those devices while they're in our education system. So what you're considering tonight is to take action regarding the agreement with both T-Mobile and OmniPro for the hotspots and Chromebooks in accordance with the district's award from the emergency connectivity. So Dykstra and his team are here tonight as well. If the board has any technical questions, we'd be happy to answer.
Not questions, but just, I'm totally excited about this. I think we had a conversation about broadband and stuff at the beginning of the pandemic, and so, it's great. Great.
So I have a question. After the 1 year, is there what's the cost to the student or the family to continue the hotspot?
It depends on their status. Some of the grants are as low as $10 a month for the students. Most of them are going to be between $10 and $25 a month if they want to continue.
Okay. And if there's a hardship, are we prepared to, I mean, if for some reason, I mean, we would know whether or not we would have it, we already have it, so is there somewhere where we can be looking at?
Yeah, so we want to talk a little bit about our assessment of connectivity and accessibility in our homes and the community and some of the work we've done to this is a committed Dr. Dykstra. He juggles as well.
I get paid extra for those mistakes. So one of the things that happened when we went through the pandemic is we had those surveys and stuff that went out to people and we got requests from people. Another thing that happened in the pandemic is Sam Delgado actually took some of our hotspots and drove all around the bus pickup stops all around the district to find out what the strength of the service was. So we did a whole lot of research to find out where we have access. And we had a lot of requests come in from parents at the time, and we had flyers and stuff that went home, and I know Marcom has sent some stuff out on social media advertising the different programs that are available for them in their homes. So probably over the last 3 years, there's been more stuff going to them. Again, if it goes home, not everybody sees it, and this is gonna give us one more opportunity. We're gonna take that list of names that we got, and we're gonna go through and we're gonna contact every single one of those people and give them an opportunity to apply for this. When they get the Chromebook, they will also get the hotspot with the Chromebook. Even if they already have internet, they'll have that dedicated extra internet. So if they have the slow internet, which a lot of the free stuff is slow, this will give them the ability for that individual hotspot to have its own. The other thing is this is per child, so you could have, in some homes, more than one child have the Chromebook and have a hotspot to go with it. So their internet is protected when they're doing streaming and stuff. So that kind of helps instead of sharing it like we had to do during the pandemic. Sometimes we had to share for a whole household, and that really slows things down. So the pandemic really kind of helped prepare us for this. We were able to collect a lot of information, and so we're going to be able to deploy this, I think, quicker and easier than we did and more accurately to the people that need it.
Because I know how frustrating it can be to have your kid come home with technology and say, I can't make it work, you know what I mean? Or it becomes too expensive, or, you know what I'm trying to say? So we don't want it to be a burden and then not have the ease of, you know, using it and stuff.
Well, so one of the things that we're doing, that we just started this week, as a matter of fact, is we're sending out flyers home with the kids on training that's available to the parents for what their students are using, the type of technology we have here at the school. And so we decided to make sure that it's a physical piece of paper going home with the kids for the people who aren't on social media, because they're probably the ones that need the help the most. And you know, we have a tendency to advertise out on social media, but the people that don't use technology don't see that. So that is something we're doing right now in preparation for this, so that they know that, oh, here's a number, here's somebody we can contact and say, hey, we'd like some of the training ourselves so we know what our kids do.
That's so nice, thank you for that, I appreciate that.
And I'm gonna sign up for that, I'll borrow a kid.
That's why I did. Good, good.
That's good to know, thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Yeah.
All right, Mr. President, I recommend board approval to negotiate and execute agreement with T-Mobile hotspots and OmniPro Chromebooks in the form approved by legal counsel.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. We'll move on to the consent agenda. Is there anyone who would like anything pulled from the consent agenda? Not, can I have a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented?
I'll make a motion, sorry. I can't do two things at once.
For any reason, do I have a second? I have a second from Mr. Garza, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Move on to item 10, adjournment. Do I have a motion to adjourn? So moved. Do I have a second? We are adjourned.